Hi guys, Tracy Fines here, 25-year real estate investor. And in this upcoming video that you're gonna watch here is all my 3 basic steps to what I do to find a great property, fix it up and sell it for massive profits, and how I make millions of dollars. So stay tuned and get a pen and paper because you're going to write down some notes to make sure you don't miss any of these tidbits, these golden nuggets. Take care.
Tracy is an experienced investor and builder, published interior designer, and she has won numerous awards for design. Tracy is an award-winning author and international speaker who has been featured in international publications and on television. Having a zest for life, a love of great design, and an enthusiasm for creating beauty, she will uplift and inspire you to take massive action in your life to achieve your goals. And she wants to help you do the same. Please welcome Tracy Fines.
Hello, good day. I'm Tracy Fines, and I want to talk to you today about my simple 3 steps as a real estate investor of how I flip a property. So I have been doing this 25 years, and so this is what has worked for me over the years, and I want to give you some great value today. So this is basically my simple framework. Now, there's a lot of steps in between that I won't have time in this live to talk to you about, but I want to just tell you sort of the overall right now. Okay, so first of all, when you're going to flip a property, you have to find a great property. So what are you looking for? That's the question. Like, how do you know when you go out there and you start to look at properties and drive around like I do and take a look at things, like what are you looking for? So the first one, which is we want to talk about, the first step is to how to find a great property. Okay, so how do I go about doing this? This is basically what I look for. First of all, I think the obvious one to most of you will be location. You need to have a great location. Location. We know that that's what people want, and also that's what also retains great value in a property is if it's ideally located. So the questions are, well, what makes a great property? What makes a great location? So for me, when you're looking for a great location, you really have to kind of go back to your basic instincts. And we kind of forget about those. But when you just go back to the very basic necessities that we are in, which is inherently in us, you're going to get to the core of what subconsciously as human beings we want. And for me, when I ask my students, what makes a great location, they think, it's going to be, it's close to shopping, it's close to transit. I mean, these are important things too, but they're not really the basics. And the basics is, first of all, is what we're drawn to as human beings is by our subconscious. So the basic human needs. And one of them would be you want to be in a safe and secure place. So when we think about people looking for a house, they want to have a great neighborhood. Well, that's one of the reasons why they want to have a great neighborhood. They want to have like-minded people that are like them, as first of all, but also they want to have that security that they're going to be, maybe they're going to have children, they've got to think about protecting the kids. So we don't really think about it that way so much anymore, but really when it comes down to it, it is about safety, right? And security. So we want a safe neighborhood. The next thing that makes a great location is also not something that comes to mind right away, but really we want our our home, our cave, our den to be restful. Like that's where we sleep the most. Like that's where we basically rest most of the time. So when we go out to work or when we're going to our hunt, we're out of the cave, right? So when you're in the cave, you want to have peace and tranquility. It needs to be rejuvenating and restful place. So we want quiet. So we want a safe neighborhood and we want a quiet neighborhood. Okay, very important. So again, this is one of the things that kind of gets embodied into when we have someone, like I'm a real estate agent as well as an investor in real estate. So when I have clients and I'm helping them, this is something that they infer when they say, I want a good neighborhood. So it's going to be safe, but it's also going to be quiet and peaceful. So they can rejuvenate, right? Your home is your sanctuary. So you want that home to be peaceful and rejuvenate you when you're there. And then another psychological point that again we term in different ways is that we as human beings are very drawn to abundance and beauty. So when we say we like good curb appeal, it's actually, when you break it down, it's really all about abundance and being drawn to where the good stuff, where the abundance is. I mean, that's what we want for survival is, we think about hunting for food and sustenance, then you need an area that is going to sustain a lot of life. So when we think about curb appeal, it's really about seeing the beauty, the nature's abundance. And it's not going to be a place where there's a lot of death and decay happening, right? So you want to have a lot of growth and a lot of beauty happening because that symbolizes abundance and that makes us want to be there. So that also helps with retaining your property value, right? If you have a beautiful location that's, tons of greenery, lots of tree-lined streets. Like people say, I want a tree-lined street. Well, why? Why do you want a tree-lined street? Well, it shows nature's abundance again, right? So we're drawn to the areas that are going to be fruitful. Makes sense, right? So it's a fruitful area if it is beautifully decked out in landscaping and gorgeous greenery, and also we're attracted to those proportions and consistency of the homes. And so you might have similar homes. They don't have to be all identical, but there's a similar feeling and there's a consistency and a balance. And we are really, as human beings, again, subconsciously very drawn to symmetry, balance, proportions. All of these sort of principles of design are what makes us feel like an area is really beautiful, and that's what draws us to a particular area. So when I'm looking for a property to invest in, these three things are probably right up on the top for me. Well, they are right on the top for me. So I'll just repeat them. So these are really basic instincts, okay? So going back to being safe, being quiet, and also abundance and beauty. So those things are the three subconscious things that we're, as human beings, wanting. So those things make a great property. Now there's a lot of other things too. And some of them, like I mentioned, were, access to food, right? Access to food. So being near a grocery store, being near shopping, being, and then of course we need transit. So being near that. But those are things that are less important than those three first ones that I mentioned. Okay, so then once you find a nice area, you want to work in this safe, quiet, beautiful area, then you need to find something that basically needs to be fixed up. So we want, as investors, to invest in a property that needs repair. We don't want to go and, I mean, even though we're human and our subconscious wants us to look for beauty and abundance, we have to basically find the things that are desolate and in disrepair. So we have to kind of go against our natural instinct for looking for beauty. We want to look for the things that are really needing our help to become beautiful. So we're looking in a nice area, like I've mentioned, but we're going to look for the ugly duckling, right? The ugly duckling is what we're looking for. So it kind of goes against your nature, right? And this is a little bit of a challenge because you kind of have to start to think the opposite of what you would want. You kind of need to think, okay, what's the worst house basically on the best street? And that's what you're looking for. So what makes a great property is finding a property that really needs to be helped. Okay, how are you going to add value? Okay, that's what you want to find, is something that you're going to add value to. And with the more value you can add, the more money potentially you can make. Okay, and this is not speculation. I want to be really clear about this. When people talk about investing in real estate and they say, oh, you're a speculator. Well, I'm not a speculator. Okay, I am a value adder. So when I buy a property, I'm going to add so much beauty and so much abundance and fix everything that was damaged or in disrepair. I'm going to add so much value that property is just going to, go way up in price. So I'm actually not betting on just the market appreciating, which is speculation. I'm actually doing something. I'm actually doing something to the property. So when you're adding value, you're not, and I repeat, not a speculator. Okay, I hope you understand that. So you're looking for the worst house on the best street. You're looking for a mess. Okay, the house that looks like it's the lawn never gets cut. Actually, that's how my house looks right now. Because my house that I'm living in, which is this house right here behind me in the picture, is my next project, and I'm just living here temporarily. And this is again something that I do as a real estate investor. I'm waiting for my permit, and I'm going to be tearing this house down. So my house is not looking the best. It's not looking the prettiest. I've actually bought the ugliest house on the street. Literally, it is very wonky and weird, and looks like a motel. Actually, looks like a strip motel. So that's my point. Like, you want to buy the house that looks like it's falling down, or it's in disrepair, or the grass is 10 feet tall and no one's caring for this property. Maybe there's like mail piled up at the door. No one's even getting the mail. So these are clues, right? That sometimes you'll see, like, even like the old antennas, the old antenna towers. Those are a really good clue that probably the person living in that house is living in a mess of some kind, or an old decrepit something. So it's like that. And so that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that house that doesn't fit in anymore. It's looking ramshackle. And then you can also, like, sometimes a house might look okay on the outside, but it might still be a good opportunity. And the way you're going to find out about that is through going into open houses, or going into see different properties that your realtor. And by the way, a realtor, you really need to have a real estate agent or realtor that really understands investors. And this is a specialization. Like, I actually got my real estate license because I really wasn't satisfied with the real estate agents that were helping me. They just weren't really understanding my needs as an investor. And this is something that I'm really passionate about, is to help investors. So you really need to get a real estate agent working for you that really is maybe a flipper themselves, maybe an investor themselves, or they really understand real estate investing. So you're going to go into properties that your realtor recommends, or you're going to go into open houses. Maybe you're going to get your own real estate license and do it yourself, like I did. And I can help you with that, by the way, if you're interested. But also, when you go into the properties, you're going to start to see things. So one of the first clues you're going to have is when you walk in, you're going to see the kitchen, and you're going to say, okay, I mean, we kind of know, right, that what the kitchen's like, what is an older kitchen look like, because we're passionate about real estate. So we watch the shows on TV, we watch those flipping shows. We're interested in the befores and after, so we have a good idea of what newer kitchens look like. So you're going to go into these houses and you're going to say, "Oh my gosh, this is like this house needs an update." You're going to know that pretty well right away just by looking at the kitchens and the baths, the flooring. You're gonna know, like, if it's like out of date. I was gonna say parquet. If it's parquet flooring, you're gonna know, or if it's broadloom, you're gonna know that it's an old house. But nowadays, parquet's kind of come back, and so is broadloom. I'm actually thinking about bringing broadloom back myself. So you know, I don't want to say that as a blanket statement anymore, because it may be actually the new parquet, which looks really good. But you're going to know for sure by the kitchens and the bathrooms, if they look dated, and that's good. So you'll be able to pick those out. And also another clue to something that's a real mess is, if it's unfinished, something's unfinished. Sometimes, you know, well, lots of times people start stuff and they just don't finish it. So it could be, well, first of all, the obvious thing is you go in the basement and the basement's unfinished. So you know that's a good potential value add. That's like, people love their basements nowadays. It depends, of course, on the area, and I'm going to talk about, you know, how we know what it is we're going to do to a property. I'm going to talk about that in the next section. But when we're talking about finding a great property, unfinished is a good clue that might be a good opportunity to add value. It might be even a bathroom that they haven't finished. Could be, you know, a garage that they were going to convert into a family room, never finished it. Maybe it's an addition they started to put on, they never finished it. Landscaping got started, never finished, this kind of stuff. So those are great opportunities. Those are sort of the clues, right? That'll tell you, hey, this is something that could be fixed. This is something that we could add value to. And then the other obvious thing would be, if the services need to be upgraded. So you've got plumbing, electrical, heating and air conditioning. All of those things are also dead giveaways to an older house that needs fixing. Knob and tube wiring, you can hardly even get, well, you can get insurance for it, but it's not as easy. And so you know when you go into the basement and you've got that like monster in the basement, right? That furnace that's probably running on oil or something like that. You know that this is a house. Oh, it might even have like, the pipes might be wrapped in asbestos insulation. So this is like a really good clue. This is like, you should get excited at this point, right? Because hey, this is like an opportunity potentially happening here in front of my eyes. So you want to remove that monster out of the basement. That is a definite sign that this house could be a potential project for you. And so those are the things that are the major clues. There's lots of little things, but major clues are there. You can also look at the home inspection. A lot of times when a house is listed, they'll have home inspection, so you can see what on the home inspection. Now, if it's a place that's in really disrepair, they probably didn't even bother to do a home inspection because they know that everything needs to get fixed. So they probably wouldn't even invest in a home inspection. So these are the clues. These are the obvious clues, and there's lots more. I talk all about this in my program, but there's lots more that, you know, are clues, but these are the main ones. And then the third thing that makes a great property is a motivated seller. Okay, we're looking for somebody that is wanting to sell. If you go and ask somebody who's really quite comfortable in their home, you know, do you want to sell your house? I mean, they're probably going to be like, well, if you pay me a lot, like a premium or something, then maybe I'll consider it. And that's not a great opportunity for you as a real estate investor. So you're looking for a motivated seller. And what are the things that make people motivated to sell? So there's many, but the three major ones are going to be power of sale. They have to sell because the bank has told them they've fallen behind on their mortgage payments and they have to sell. So power of sale or foreclosure, that's a good possibility for you as an investor. Also death and divorce. And these are also things that force people to sell. And I don't look at it as an investor that I'm taking advantage of anybody. I look at it as an investor coming into these situations and actually helping people out of a jam. Okay, so it's is your glass half full or half empty? Like that's just how you look at it. I look at it and I think I'm going to help them. I'm going to help them move on with their lives because the children, let's say of a parent that passes away, they're anxious to get that estate put to bed. They want to put their loved one to rest. They want to move on, and so that's one reason why they're motivated. And also, if it's a divorce, that couple wants to also move on with their lives, and they want to put the past in the past. So. I look at it as I'm going to help these people out of a jam. So what else? And there's one more. And then there's potential relocation for work. So somebody might have to move because, because they got relocated. And it's a great opportunity, so they don't want to pass that up. But maybe the market isn't a great. It's maybe it's like a lower market, and it's not really a great time to sell. And yet they're going to take their job, and they got to sell their house because they probably want to buy a new house in the new location. So they're somewhat forced to sell. Now, so that's again another opportunity as an investor. And then we have our friend COVID-19, which is happening currently in this year. But again, some people have to sell, and the market's been it's still been good in my area, but also there's been some soft spots. So if you are one of the unfortunate ones, and friends of mine unfortunately they had to move and put their house on the market right in the middle of all the quarantine. They took less, and that is unfortunate. But again, situations like pandemics can make really great opportunities for investors. This is again, is that your glass half full or half empty? Because for me, I get excited when the market turns down because some of these situations that have arisen because of downturns have really made me the most money in real estate. It's a great buying opportunity. And I am actually about to buy something else right now. But it's sort of a spotty market here. I'm in Toronto, Canada, so it's a little bit of a spotty market here. Some areas are still in multiple offers, and other areas are kind of flat, but not really flat too much. It's really still pretty busy around here, which is good. Okay, so that's what makes a great property. I just talked for like 21 minutes just on what makes a great property, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg. But now I want to talk to you about the next step, which is how do we know what we're going to do to the property? How to fix this property? So the big clue is the area. So when you find something that you think is a great deal, how are you going to know what to do to it? Well, there's the obvious, kitchens and baths, flooring, you can see the obvious. But then there's something that's not so obvious, and you need to do all of your homework before you start to consider any property as an investment. So the homework that you have to do is that you've got to study the area. You've got to study the market. And again, your specialized real estate agent can help you find comparable properties that have already been fixed up. in that area, and they can basically share with you what happened, like what those properties, what they did to those properties. Okay, so you really need to study the area, the local area, so the market in your area, the street, what's happened, what's happening on the street. Are the fixed up properties, are they just the existing house that was there and they fixed it up and now it looks refreshing, like freshened? Or did they actually tear houses down completely, which is what's happening more in my area? And did they build a brand new house? So you really need to see what's your competition going to be? What's your competition on that street doing? Are they building new? Are they just renovating? Or maybe they're adding on additions. Maybe they're adding on a second or a third story. Or are they converting houses into duplexes? You need to study the trend. Okay, this is really important. You're not going to build some kind of like amazing like 3-story home when every other house on the street is a bungalow that's been fixed up. Like, you're going to just overspend, right? And you're not going to make any money. So you really have to study the market and see what all the trends are. And you're going to look at the street primarily, and then you're going to look at the general area, and you're going to use that, what I would call a member of my dream team, that specialized real estate agent, to really help you understand that market. Yeah, because you might not just be doing a renovation. You might be putting on an addition. You might be renovating the existing house and putting on an addition. You might be renovating the existing house and putting on a second story and maybe a rear addition or a side addition. Like, you just need to know what's going on in the area. And for me, like I said, my area, tearing down what would have looked like a perfectly good 2-story house, tearing down like they're 80 years old, tearing those down and building bigger, taller, brand new houses. So that's the trend in my area. So you really have to study that. There's one other category that I want to mention. I'm just looking at my notes here, but one other category I want to mention, and that is really close to my heart, and that's what I'm doing actually with this property that I'm standing in, is called land division or severance. And this is a really exciting type of project to do, because when you divide a property in 2 pieces, if it was 1 piece and you divide it into 2 or more. Now, my experience has been just in dividing one piece into 2. You're creating so much added value, because now you can build 2 houses. So the value is huge. When I do projects like this, I'm making over 100% return on my money, and that's in a year. Like, that is like the bomb for sure. And that's what I look for. And this property right here that I'm standing in is that. It's actually a double-sized lot, and I was in a bidding war to get it, but it's pretty magical. So once I divide it, the numbers are crazy. Like, here, I'm just going to share with you my numbers on land division. So I bought this property for $2.6 million. I'm going to divide it into 2. I'm going to build 2 houses. I'm going to invest about $1 million of cash to build, to buy the land and to build. I'm going to invest about $1 million in cash. But I'm going to get almost $2.5 million profit in 2 years. Okay, it takes me 2 years to do this. It's over 100% return on my money annually. So, would you like to do that? It's pretty magical. So this is what the numbers typically look like. It's going to be less. You'll get a less of a return, in my experience, on just buying one house and building one new house, buying one property and building one house. But the numbers are still very good. Don't get me wrong, very good numbers. But when you buy a property that's a double-sized lot and you divide it into two, it's just super, super crazy good. So, yeah, it's very exciting. Okay, so that is, yeah, and there's also another thing called land assembly. I'm not going to talk about that today, but you could basically also buy a few properties and assemble a bigger plot of land and sell it. You could develop it into maybe an apartment building or sell it off to a bigger developer. If you're not, you know, if you're just starting out, you probably wouldn't want to develop that yourself without any experience. You'd want to either joint venture with a major developer, or you would maybe want to sell that property for a bigger return on your investment, because once the land is all assembled, it's so easy for a developer to come in and offer you a lot more money than what you paid for those lots, because now there's a huge added value for them because they could maybe build a condo, and that's assembly. Okay, and then I'm just about at 30-minute mark here, so I'm just going to wrap it up. Now, of course, my third step to flipping real estate is going to be, of course, the flip, which is the sale. And the sale is, you really need to think outside the box when it comes to selling. And you can put it on the MLS, of course, and you have your realtor and they'll do that. But beyond that, you really need to create an atmosphere and a lifestyle that, again, is going to attract that amazing buyers. So when I stage a property, like, I think as you can see, like, this is my temporary property, right? Like, I haven't hung up those lights, I haven't hung drapes, and I spray painted the walls like they were dark green, and I didn't even want to spend time painting the walls, so I just took out a spray gun. But you can see that it's staged, like it's like there's a staging feeling here, even though I haven't done a renovation of this property. I want you as an investor to stage your properties like to the beyond. Like, it needs to look like a showroom. And you really want to get rid of all that personal, like, if it is the house that maybe you're even living in, which is a totally great idea, live in your reno for a bit. But you got to get rid of all the personal stuff, right? Because if your buyers get hung up on looking at your family pictures and, oh, look, there's their dog, and hey, that must be their grandmother. I mean, they just totally get distracted, and you don't want that. So definitely all your personal stuff has to go. You need to stage it to the nines. Like, just go crazy on the staging. Make it so drop dead beautiful that buyers are going to be like in a bidding war, because, like, wow, I want to live like that. And that is a psychological, like, you're appealing to their subconscious, okay? And this is what you want. So if you're in an area that, new houses, they don't even, or houses that come on the market, they're not even staging them. Stage, okay? Set your house apart from everybody else. Just do it. And also, nowadays, we're seeing such a huge change in how we look at properties. So social media is a huge influencer. We can run ads. We can share on all the, like Pinterest, like, share on all the platforms. Very visual platform, Pinterest, Instagram, and you can run ads on these things and drive traffic through sales funnels and landing pages and all the new sort of way of selling. And so I totally recommend that you also appeal to your audience that way as well, especially as an investor, because you're going to continually do this. So you're going to buy and sell, keep flipping, you're going to make money, you're going to on to the next. Maybe you're doing more than one at a time even. So you definitely want to create a following. And this is a perfect time to do it. Social media is the way to go. And another thing is like have open houses that are more like parties. Like a twilight. Like houses look amazing at twilight, right? With all the lights twinkling. Like that's the jewelry. The jewelry of the house is like it all sparkles at night. The lighting, the hardware, all of that is your jewelry. So that's it. Those are my 3 simple steps. Now, there's lots of steps in between. I have a program, flippinggreatlife.com. If you want to get into what I teach and how I show, I'm doing. I'm not just talking about flipping properties. I'm doing it. So I invite you to come to my webinar where you can jump into my program, and I will show you how I do it and share all of my 25 years of wisdom with you. So thank you for being here, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.